A very good evening to you. I am Mark Seal with your Lime Sports World. International umpire Daryl Harper has quit his job due to the treatment he got in the just concluded Digicel series between the West Indies and India here in the Caribbean. The Australian says the International Cricket Council's failure to take any action against the Indian captain Mahendra Singh Dhoni for criticizing his decisions in the first test reflected the advent of what he calls selective management in cricket. This was the chief factor in his decision to quit prematurely from umpiring. Harper said he felt targeted by the Indian team during that test, and he was speaking out now on those incidents because the ICC chose not to. Harper, who retired before what would have been his 96th and final test in Dominica, also revealed an incident that occurred after Praveen Kumar was removed from the attack for repeatedly running on the pitch at Sabina Park in Jamaica. Harper claims that Dhoni approached him and said that India has had problems with him before, which the umpire interpreted as an attempt to intimidate him. Dhoni's more publicized remarks came after that Kingston test, following a series of umpiring errors. Harper said he felt he had been singled out by Dhoni and his team in response to earlier incidents in which he had pulled up various members of the Indian team for their on-field behavior. Harper also criticized the ICC for a lack of support in the face of concerted pressure from India's players and India's media, which ultimately led to him being hounded out of Test cricket a match earlier than he was scheduled to retire. The ICC intend to make a presentation to Harper, recognizing his contribution to the game. This will be during the next Test match to be played at Adelaide Oval in Australia. That's Harper's home ground. Now, coincidentally, that game will be played between the Aussies and India. In more cricket news here in Barbados, Harrison College registered a 76-run victory over Queen's College of the United Kingdom when the Sir Garfield Sobers Schools International Cricket Competition continued today. They were played at the Empire Ground in Bank Hall, and Harrison College were first at the crease. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke was there and reports.
Put into bat, Harrison College's opening pair of Nicholas Carell and Jacob Rogers showed early promise for their side. Just as Carell did in the previous shot, Rogers too followed pattern, getting in on a boundary. But with a partnership of 55 runs on the scoreboard, Carell would make his exit, LBW at the hands of Oliver Webb. 9 runs later, Rogers too would head back to the pavilion, caught by William Stewart off the bowling of Edward Booth. In stepped David Knight and Simon Bartlett, and Knight wasted no time in getting boundaries. Bartlett too got in on the act, and they together added 39 runs to the score before Bartlett was caught by skipper Jake Lintott off the bowling of Merrick Stewart. Harrison College now 93 for 3. That brought the hard-hitting Darnell Greenwich to the crease, and the match's first 6 went over the head of our cameraman. Greenwich wasn't finished yet. He lost this ball over the southern end of the ground, another 6. But Knight couldn't hold his end, and so went for 30, caught by Lintott off Merrick Stewart. Greenwich was still holding his own. Here's another of his 9 sixes of the match. He also sneaked in a 4, the only one of these he had. Harrison College would then lose 2 more wickets before Greenwich made a spectacular end to the innings, this one way over the pavilion. Harrison College 240 for 6 in their 40 overs, Greenwich 87 not out. Brandon Best finished on an unbeaten 4. Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Queen's College in reply were all out for 164 in 31.1 overs. Lewis Kentworthy top scored with 54, while Nathan Richards took 3 for 32. Now, Queen's College of Barbados won their 6th round Lime Under-15 game against Princess Margaret today at Husbands. Scores: QC 109 for 4 and 130 for 3 declared, Nicholas Curtin getting 69. Princess Margaret 71 for 4 and 103. Brandon Sidaway taking 3 for 1 as QC won by 65 runs. Meanwhile, on day 1 of a rescheduled game, Corrigan Parry have already taken first innings points from Parkinson. Hassani Newton struck 110 as CP made 174 for 4 in 32 overs in their first innings. Parkinson were then restricted to 90 for 8. Another Barbadian has been elevated to a top position in sports. Noah Lynch is now the vice president of NACAC. That's the North American, Central American, and the Caribbean Athletes Association. He was elected at the NACAC Congress, which was held in Puerto Rico recently. NACAC includes global powerhouses like Jamaica, the United States, and Cuba. Lynch is currently the second vice president of the Barbados Amateur Athletics Association. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk basketball. Lumber Company Lakers are now 6-3 in the BABA Premier League after the action continued this week at the Garfield Sobers Gym. Lakers beat Rollaway, Storm and Security Shutters St. John Sonics 70-61. While in another game, British American Insurance Jackson picked up their 5th win of the season, edging out Pinelands 62-60. CBC's Marsha Boyce reports.
St. John Sonics would lead the Lumber Company Lakers 21-18 at the end of the first quarter of this game. That's Shane Whittaker picking up 2 of his 13 points. Now when the Lakers are on court this season, expect at least 1 dunk per game from Ian Alexander. He scored 14 points on the night. Dwayne Kalman chipped in with 11 points for the Sonics, but after the first quarter, it was virtually all Lakers. Ricardo Jemmett coming up with one of his 14 rebounds, then down the court just in time for the two-handed slam. Adrian Allman here with the jumper. He was good for 10 of the Lakers' points. They would lead 38-33 at halftime. Sonics big man George Haynes didn't really get going until the third quarter. He would end with a game-high 19 points and 18 rebounds. But Jemmett was a thorn in their side all night. First the steal, then the slam. He had 18 points and 14 boards. Alexander would virtually put the exclamation mark on the victory, Lakers taking it 70-61. In the second game, Pinelands in white were looking for their 6th victory, but Jackson had other things in mind. Leading the Pinelands charge was Charles Vanderpool. He had 16 points and 13 rebounds. He got good support from Ramon Simmons with 14 and DeCarlo Skeet 12. For Jackson, Manuel Aleng would score 12 points, while Peter Allen registered a double-double, 15 points and 10 boards. Jackson would eventually come away with a narrow 2-point victory, 62-60. Marsha Boyce, CBC Sports.
And still in basketball, defending women's champions, Impact Station Hill Cavaliers, Combined Schools Hoopsters, and Act 2 Popcorn Clapham Bulls were all in the W column after games last night in the Women's Basketball Premier League. Hoopsters crushed H&H Sound Challengers 63-34. The Cavs got the better of St. John Sonics, while the Bulls won the battle with the Tigers. CBC's Sean Green reports.
The Bulls in the orange were taking no prisoners in this game, especially Tony Atherley, who led the way with 19 points. Jennifer Joseph Hackett, who was busy all night, made good use of this pass, laying up for 2 of her 13. Then former Garrison School student Sade Clark showed a bit of her class with a beautiful left-handed layup. Sade had 12 points in the game. The Tigers were finding it tough to claw their way through the Bulls' defense, trailing by 25 at one stage, so they made good use of their few chances. But in the end, the Bulls outplayed the Tigers to register a comfortable 28-point win. In another matchup featuring the Cavs in the green and the Sonics, the Cavs enjoyed an easy outing against their opponents, with Wanda Agard Belgrave leading the way with 27 and Dana Jones getting 18, as the Cavaliers came away with an 85-41 victory. Sean Green, CBC Sports.
The absence of trial games for preparing and selecting national teams is being viewed as a poor strategy by cricket critics. Speaking about the selected Barbados Under-19 team, which will play in the upcoming regional tournament in Guyana, chairman of the local selection panel, Ezra Mosley, said the officials decided to take another approach. He was speaking on this week's Mid-Wicket Cricket radio show on QFM.
The BCA and the Centre of Excellence, they took a decision to pick a squad of 20 players, put them into the Centre of Excellence, and then pick the team from that 20. A lot of people are not in agreement with that system. I think it needs a bit of tweaking, and hopefully next year we can get it right. I'm a little bit disappointed in the way that the under-15s went in Trinidad. The under-19s are going off to Guyana in a couple of days, and I hope that they can do a lot better than the under-15s did. Also, the women is preparing for their tournament here in Barbados. We've got a very strong side pick, and I'm hoping that they can do quite well as well.
Well, Barbados will take on the Windward Islands in the first round of that under-19 competition. The team is set to leave the island on Saturday for the July 18th to August 4th tournament.